Explore, take risks, you won't always know what to do next, keep experimenting. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking another look at Cultist Simulator. The first time I played, I had no idea what I'm doing, but now I've got some of the basics down, which means that I can explain those basics to you. As that message said, though, you can figure out all of these mechanics on your own through experimentation, trial, and error. I also suggest reading the little story bits on the cards. They're very well written. People put a lot of work into those. But for folks like me, it can be a little bit frustrating to jump into a game when you have no idea what to do and then die for reasons that you don't understand. So what today's video is going to be all about how to survive like your first hour of Cultist Simulator and getting yourself set up to be successful later on in the game. It's a little bit spoilery, but not too much. We're going to start with a brand new game, absolutely no legacy, no bonuses, no perks, no nothing. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that we get is we get this big square which is called a verb. This particular verb is work. New verbs are going to go into this little thingy here. This little, I don't know, tray. So I'm going to put the tray up here in the corner of this playmat. Stick work there. This is the same except for new cards. Any new cards you get are going to go there first. Now you've got this entire space to explore. And organization is a big part of this game, but for now we're going to zoom way in because all we've got is the work verb and menial employment. We can plug this in either by dragging it here, or by simply right-clicking it. If you right-click something, it'll automatically go to what the game thinks is where you want it to go. It's not always correct if there's more than one place you can put something. Go ahead and speed up the game a little bit. Spacebar pauses. Okay, so anytime you need to stop, unless you're doing a challenge run, spacebar pauses, use it. So what do we get? We got 2 funds from this shift at the hospital, and 1 health. Now, health and money are 2 resources that we're going to need in order to be successful. So I'm going to take them out of the tray, put them down here. And right now, that's all we've got. So if I want to make more money, I got to go to work. Right now, the only thing I can do for work is drop a health in here. Unskilled labor, it'll give me money, but it will also give me a thing called vitality. We'll talk about that in a second. We've got this dream verb that's doing something in the background. We're going to avoid it for now. We're going to sort of ignore it. And a lot of this game is all about watching timers tick down and pausing the moment something changes. Yeah? So what did I get? I'm just going to hit C to collect. I picked up a contentment, which will last for 1 minute. Not important right now. I'm going to pick up a passion. Passion, like health, is a resource and a stat. So I'm going to put that down here with the rest of my resources. Okay, so first shift at my menial job is done. I get my health back, but you notice that it's fatigued, right? So I can't use it again for another minute. So I would love to be able to put health back into work, but I can't because I don't have any way to mess with that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this passion into work, which will allow me to do a painting. It's not going to be a very good painting. Normally, I would put an inspiration in here. If you click on the slot, it will highlight any cards that are allowed to go in there. Right now, I don't have any, so I'm just going to make a painting of nothing. It's going to take me a minute. Now, this hourglass here is a thing that happens every once in a while because you got to pay money to live, right? You got to pay rent, you got to buy food, blah, blah, blah. So every so often, this orange time passes verb will pop up. It will use this magnet to automatically grab one of your funds, and if you don't have any funds to grab, you'll get sick. Now, this vitality here does two things. I can use it to make myself better if I'm sick, but I can also use it to increase my health stat permanently, which is what we're going to be doing in just a moment. Okay, so what did we get? We got 9 money, we got a bequest, and we got reason, which is our third stat and our third resource. Now, this bequest, I am going to move way off on the other side of the table. We're not dealing with that yet. That bequest will get us into the cult side of Cult Simulator, but I'm not interested in that just now. Right now, I'm just interested in survival. So, I did my painting. Great. So what we're going to do now, the painting gave me some contentment, which will last for a minute. Sometimes it'll give you some money if you paint, or if you manage to paint something that someone wants to buy. Also, you get some other stuff for it. But for now, I am going to put reason into my job, which will find me kind of a better job. Now, for vitality, with 2 vitality, I can improve my health. Yeah, I only have 1, but I can get more vitality by going into study and basically studying my health. I'm doing exercise. That's going to give me another vitality. We'll start that. Okay, so I got a junior position at Glover & Glover. We're going to be really bad at this job for a while, and that's fine. I like to put the job right up next to the work verb myself. I'll go ahead and put reason down here so all of my resources are all in one spot. Now, what it would like me to do is it would like me to put in a reason, and notice again, when I click on diligence, it highlights the card. With reason, I can get a little bit of extra effort, get a little bit more money, hopefully. Now, the other thing about time passes is you can click on it to get an idea of what's coming next. So this rose here, for example, the Season of Ardors. Now, that doesn't tell you much about it, but I will tell you what happens when it comes up. There are a few different symbols here. Some you need to be concerned with, and some you don't. So you see a rose popped up, which was the same rose that was in this. And then I've got this hook for next time. Again, we'll talk about that later. But for now, so when we study our health, it gives us our health back at the end, obviously. Now we have 2 vitalities, and this one's going to expire pretty soon. So we're going to open up study. We're going to study both vitality, and that's going to help us increase our health permanently. Now, the rose was looking for something. A lot of these verbs are going to pop up in the early game, and you're not going to know what they mean. That's okay. For now, it gave me a contentment. That's a good thing. We're doing great so far. Okay, now, here's the thing about our first early game. We got this position at Glover & Glover, but we're not actually going to work that job very much. Because we want our health to go up, there are 2 ways of getting the vitality that we need to turn it into health. One is by studying it, the other is by doing unskilled labor. Every time we do an unskilled labor, that's going to get us a vitality as well, and we want to start stockpiling those. Now, that does mean, notice this countdown on the position, it does mean that I'm going to be in trouble at my job, but for this particular job, don't worry about it, it's okay. You can always get your job back in this particular case. There are other jobs in the game that don't work that way, but for this one, if it lapses, no big deal, you can always get it back. Okay, so now that I've exercised my body, I have this health skill called a stronger physique, and you'll notice that I now have 2 health, right? One is here, the other one is being utilized. And something I should not have done was let a few seconds tick by. Timing isn't hugely important right now, but it is something to keep an eye on. I'm going to keep making vitality, so I'm going to keep plugging health in, keep making vitality. Now, I would love to put another health into here, but my health is currently fatigued and the other one is in use. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get my job back and get a little bit more money. You don't want this work verb to be idle really at all. So I'm going to go in there. It wants me to put in a passion to get my job back. And then in 30 seconds, I can start working here again. Now this hook gave me a restlessness. This is a good thing to bear in mind. So restlessness lasts for about a minute, and it will turn into despair if it's left alone. Now, neither restlessness nor despair are terrible things on their own. By themselves, they're not going to hurt you. There are ways that the game can use them to kill you, but looking at this symbol here, this is not the symbol for despair is about to become a major problem. So I'm not too worried about this restlessness right now. Okay, so I got my job back, and now I'm going to do that job once, and it wants me to put in reason for diligence. Now, if I right-click reason, it goes into dream automatically, and you're going to see me do that during this video a lot. So just bear in mind when you right-click on something, it might not necessarily go where you want it to go. Make sure you're, keeping an eye out. Now, this trembling in the air is looking for fascination cards, and if it gathers too many fascination cards, I will die. I'm not worried about it right now because I don't have any. There's more to it than that, but I'm trying to keep it simple for the moment. So I got my vitality, and this heart here is really a piece of good news, because sometimes randomly you might get extra vitality when you do stuff. So as soon as this is done, I'm going to have another free vitality hanging out, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to make one more vitality, which will give us a total of 4, which is how many we need for right now. So as you see, the restlessness turns to dread. It'll be there for 3 minutes. This little heart with a minus means I'm about to get sick. No big deal. I've got the vitality to deal with it. Now the question is, do I want to lose my position again and get another vitality here? What do I need? Okay, so really fast, when you go to study, these two, if I combine 2 vitalities, it's going to give me a thing called a lesson. 2 lessons allows me to upgrade my skill to the next level, give me extra health. Yeah, so I want a total of 5 vitality, right? 1 to deal with the sickness that's about to happen. That's this right here. And 4 to make the 2 lessons that I need to get the next level of permanent health. So I am going to go ahead and put in my skill, a stronger physique, instead of putting the health in directly. Then I'll drop in a health, Again, I'm going to lose my position, although I might, if I'm very quick, I might be able to keep it this time. Now, this sickness wants a health to put in here, and if I don't have a health to put in here, I will die in 1 minute. Thankfully, my health is coming back in 10 seconds. It should grab it automatically. So it took my health. I no longer have access to this health to use. It is stuck in sickness for 45 seconds, 46 seconds. Then I have to deal with the affliction. Okay. Now, anytime I'm building something, I always like to use the ones that are closest to being expired, right? So this one's only 60 seconds. So I'm going to take the 60 seconds and the 116 seconds. I'm going to exercise my body. And you'll see what I mean by lessons in a moment. So I collect, and I haven't even I had 1.4 seconds left. So sometimes you can spare yourself some negative consequences if you have good timing. Because I'm immediately going to go back to my position, start that up, and now I don't have to spend 30 seconds begging for my job. Okay, now this is this season of despair is when I have to start worrying about dread, and I'll show you why when we get there. For now, I take this affliction, which again permanently removes one of my health until I deal with it. So how do I deal with it? Well, I'm going to go to Dream. Dream is where you make big changes, especially once you get to the cult side of things. It's also where you fix problems. So I'm going to Dream on my affliction. And I have two choices. I can either take medicine, which means putting money in. Yeah. Or, if I have it to spare, I can take a vitality. And that basically just means sleeping it off and then I'm fine, right? Using my natural immunity to deal with it. So in 60 seconds, I'll have my health back. Everything will be fine. So, 2 vitalities equals 1 vitality, a lesson learned. Yeah? I need 2 lessons to upgrade my skill, so we're going to do that right now. Reason to get the extra attention, or to get the extra money. Okay, so during the season of despair, this thing called Bleak Thoughts shows up. Okay? When the Bleak Thoughts shows up, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to grab a dread. Yeah? If there's one to be had, it's going to grab it. And then it's going to process it, and it's going to take a minute. If it processes the dread completely, it's then going to reach out for another one. It's going to try to find another dread. If it gets 3 dread on it and processes all 3, I'm dead. That's the end of the game. That's how I died in my first look video. So I need a way to deal with that, and the way you deal with that is through contentment, that thing that I got earlier. The Bleak Thoughts will reach out and grab a contentment instead if it's available, and that should either negate it, cancel it out, or at least delay it. So how do you get contentment? Well, at this stage in the game, there's really only one way to get it outside of finding it randomly. You can paint for it, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and drop a money into Dream, which means we're buying some opium. It's going to give us a contentment, but there are also possible negative consequences that can happen from that. In the early game, you're going to be doing a lot of opium. Sorry. It's better than dying. Okay, so we're going to continue to work our position at Glover and Glover. Sometimes if you right-click and drag, it won't work very well, so be careful. We'll start that up, and then we're going to take our 2 lessons learned. Ooh, that's not what I meant. I'm going to put my skill in here, and I'm going to put my 2 lessons learned in. And then I'm going to start. And that will get me my 3rd level of health. Okay, so got my opium, got contentment. So when this runs out, it should grab the contentment instead, process that, and that should hopefully get rid of it. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the basics. Notice that I'm leaving Dream to not do anything. You don't need to have all these timers going at once unless there is something specific that you want to do. So as you can see, it grabbed my contentment. Now this hook is going to make another restlessness in me. Which could be a problem depending on how the timing works out. Okay, so that got me up to a hardened physique. I have 3 health. I'm not quite done yet, though. I am going to go ahead and push for that 4th point of health. To do that, I need 3 lessons, which means I'm going to be working really hard both in study and in work to pick up that vitality. Hotkeys, very, very important. Makes your life a lot faster. You're going to be doing a lot of clicking and dragging in this game, so the more you use hotkeys, the better off you are. There's my restlessness, which once again will turn into dread, but hopefully it should turn into dread after this drops off. And my next season is a season of suspicion, not despair. And again, very quickly. This is about to end up. Okay. So this is going to move for 8 seconds. It's resolving. If within that 8 seconds another dread pops up, it'll grab it and keep going. But because this restlessness isn't going to turn into dread until after this pops, hopefully I should be fine. It should leave me with a small reward called a fleeting thought. The wrong kind of attention. So this is when cops or journalists or Ghostbusters or whatever are trying to come after me, right? Right now, I haven't done anything illegal except for a little bit of opium. There is nothing for them to do, so this is not a problem for now. Later on, when I start gaining some notoriety, when I start gaining something called mystique, then investigators can use that to build a case against me, but for now, I should be fine. Got my vitality. And I'm not going to lose my position. Or do I care? I do need 3 total lessons, which is a lot. 3 lessons is tough, especially since everything has a countdown timer. So I'm actually going to let my position go. And we're going to keep working on our vitality. So, Fleeting Reminiscence is... It's a small little, like... I don't know, it's like a wild card. There's a lot of things you can do with it, but for now we're just going to be ignoring it. Restlessness becomes dread. We've got our 2 vitality. Now, a thing I like to do, personally, is I like stockpiling as many of these, I guess, tier 2 cards as possible before I start combining them into lessons. So because this vitality has 160 seconds left, I'm going to go ahead and study more. My name is clear. I also get some contentment because I don't have to worry about being followed, so that's nice. And in fact, it's not important, but I'll go ahead and do it now. If you happen to have a contentment and there's a dread sitting there, like, taking up space, you can dream on the dread, put the contentment in, it'll cancel them out. So if I was worried about it, which I'm not, I've got suspicion next, not despair, but if I was worried about it, that's how I would get rid of that, dread. Now this health is going to be ready in 9 seconds, so I'm actually going to let it run. 1, 0, and we will once again drop health into work. Did not get a contentment from that one, but that's okay. It's random. That gives me my next vitality. Okay, now these two are beginning to get low. I need a total of 6 vitality, right? I've got a 5th one coming from here, and then I'll probably get a 6th one from working while this is going. So I'm going to find my 2 oldest vitalities, the ones that are going to expire first. And we're going to combine those up. We're going to make some lessons. So the dread is gone, this fleeting reminiscence is left in its wake. Now, really quick, you can stack these on top of each other. Yeah, you can't stack the fatigued ones on top of the regular ones, so it's good to have, like, extra space. If you want to grab just one thing, you click it and drag it. If you want to drag the whole stack, hold shift. Pick up the whole thing. So we're going to do one more unskilled labor, and that should be it for that. Now we have this bleak thoughts. If no dread pops up, I should be okay. So I'm not going to bother taking drugs about it just yet. Also, you can tell which one's more like or sooner to expire by looking at the colors. Notice how the color fades from here to here to here. That's just a nice visual way of telling which one's gonna expire first. Okay, now we've got all the vitality we need, right? Lesson learned, second lesson learned is in here, the third lesson learned is these 2 vitality, so we're going to go ahead and get our job back. Because we're going to be working this job for a while. So because there was no dread, the bleak thoughts resolve themselves, no big deal. I find that a lot of the game is restacking fatigue stuff onto your resources. I kind of wish that you could set a spot where once it becomes available again, it zips back to that spot. As far as I know, that's not a thing, but maybe it is, and I just don't know how. Okay, so we got our job back. Second lesson learned. What's coming up next? Season of Ardors, which I believe is going to give me a contentment. Takes one of my money, of course. Gotta pay rent. Got my job back. And we're starting it. Okay, so now we've got our 3 lessons. So we're going to take our skill, and we're going to put in lesson, lesson, lesson. That'll get us our 4th and, for now, final health points. So now we're much less likely to die early from getting sick or getting injured, right? Because we've got this extra health as a buffer. What's coming up next? Investigation. Don't have to worry about that at all right now. So it's looking for evidence against me, but it's not going to find any. Notice my reason, like, recharged at the moment this came up. Again, timing is important. I'm going to immediately accidentally put it back into Dream like I said I would. Okay. Putting it into overtime, because money is going to be really important, especially later on. So now we have a steely physique, 4 health. We're done with health. So that's the first thing that you don't have to do it in this order. You don't have to do it this way. But the first thing that I always do is I get my health up to 4. That way I am ready to go. But we're not done yet. Next thing I want to do is I want to do the same thing, but for passion. But I think I'm going to do that in a second video because this one's already getting pretty long. So for now, getting your health up to 4, very important, very, not, again, necessary, but a useful way to get started. If you want, this would be a good time to go ahead and check out the game, get your health up so you're not going to die immediately, and then go from there exploring on your own. But if you want, in the next video, I will be talking about increasing your passion and your reason, and then that'll get us ready for the next phase of the game. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.